What's going out there, YouTube?
What's up out there, YouTube?
This is SEL0320.
It's your boy Joe Johnson, 030.
We are back for a brand new episode of The Flash. This is episode 9, the mid-fall season finale. Yeah. And the name of this episode was Running to Stand Still. So this is going to be we're going to do a non-spoiler first.
Sure.
So this is all non-spoilers, so you ain't got to worry about any spoilers from us. Alright, so what was our reception of this episode? What did we think about it? Dude.
It was a pretty solid episode.
There was so many surprises in this episode.
Really solid episode, guys.
That I came out of it like in shock and at the same exact time anticipation. That's really how I felt coming out of it. What was some of the feelings you came coming through the middle to the end to the beginning of this episode?
It was a solid episode all around. Like, definitely fitting for the holidays. Like, it has like this Christmassy feel to it.
Yeah.
Kind of gives you a sense of like family.
Yeah, that's true.
It just has really good values behind this episode. A lot takes place, so it's a lot of meat in it. It's a lot of meat in this episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really liked how they handled Iris in this episode. Yeah. Like Paula Patton, or not? I call her Paula Patton. Lord Jesus, what is her name? Candace.
Ah, man.
Is it Candace?
I should know this.
Anyway,
I'm sorry, Candace.
The way that they handled Iris in this episode, they did it so well because it was such a slow burn. For most of this season, like, we really haven't seen her character, other than when Barry got his back broken, he was jacked up. The beginning of the season, when she's really there for Barry and the team. But in this episode, it's kind of solidified, like, her really emoting, like what's really wrong with her. That's what I've been waiting for, like, most of the season. Yeah. And like it all comes out in this one emotional moment with her interaction with Barry. Like Barry just came off of like, interacting with Patty, and then to hear everything that she was talking about, it was like, wow. And then she name dropped somebody that literally, I kid you not, I yelled so loud, I felt like I popped one of my eardrums. And Joe heard it. He was like, "You okay?" I was like, "Did you hear that name? Did you hear the name that she was talking about?" And the thing about it is, like, they had the excellent follow through of ending the episode with the same exact person that they named off, and I was like, "This is awesome. This is so awesome of a setup." In my opinion, the beginnings of something great that could actually take this franchise to a whole different level, because if you know the mythos of the character I'm talking about and who he's supposed to be, it's just awesome. I'm not going to geek out. But what about everything else? What did you think about how they handled the villains in this episode? Or the story arc behind that?
Yeah, So the Flash in this episode is finding the Trickster and what's the other guy's name?
You want the Weather Wizard?
Weather Wizard. Yes, he's fighting.
And Captain Cold.
He doesn't really fight Captain Cold in this episode. Like I just thought. Well.
Nah, go ahead. I'm just playing.
Weather Wizard. So Barry's encounter, is fighting.
Can't hear you.
So Barry's fighting these villains. It's kind of like they have, kind of like, on a lot of occasions, fighting Barry, he develops new skills. So this episode, we get him to develop a new skill. It's actually really cool, actually.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what he does, but I was like, Barry, there isn't anything Barry can't do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, true. I was asking Joe, I was like, basically, the scenario is him and Patty, they're surrounded around these dreidels that have C4 charges on them, and you're trying to figure out how is he gonna not speed past these things, And I was telling Joe, I was like, does he do this? Has he been able to do this yet? And we were trying to figure out how he's gonna do it, and then the show surprised us in the way that they handled that. Even like with the Weather Wizard, he came out with some new joint.
Yeah, he did.
Like, I was like, because there was a sequence that you see Flash running to try to catch somebody that is levitating, and like there was a sequence where he was like running and he came from one building on top of like this helicopter and kind of ran past it. I was like, that is awesome. But as far as Mark Hamill in this episode, the beginning of it, I love his stage presence. I mean, all I can hear is the Joker incarnate, you know. But at the same time, he's made this character his own, and he shines. I think this is the best time for Mark Hamill to come back, because Star Wars is only 10 days away, which is awesome. The only thing about it is I was like, towards the end, I felt like it was more overacting. I was like, was there really a need for his character other than somebody devising a plan like this? But either way, I mean, just Mark Hamill being in this episode made it better, generally. But Patty, though. Patty had some heavy stuff that she was dealing with in this episode that had to do with her backstory, had to do with her dad, and in correlation to the Weather Wizard and what he did. And she had to make some seriously harsh choices, and the ramifications of what she was going to do, it was crazy, man, because it played into Barry and his thought process of his own happiness. And I thought that was excellent symmetry, but more than anything, which this show does so well, is like Joe said, when it comes to the prospect of family, specifically a father and a son. Joe, Iris, and Barry, their relationship as a family is so authentic and is so beautiful that the smallest little moments with them, they're so meaningful, even to the very end, which I can't say. Y'all just gonna have to stay tuned for our spoiler review. We're gonna talk about it in the spoiler review. What would you get this episode as far as a rating?
Oh man, I give it a 9, bro.
9 out of 10?
I give it a 9.
I actually, be real, I'm gonna give it a 9.5, bro. Like that, the name drop got me, one. But they took a serious tone that I didn't expect, where Zoom plays a really big hand with Wells in this episode. Like specifically at the very end. If you look at the last sequence, what he's, like there was a sequence with Wells and Zoom that I was like, wow, that was jacked up. That was so jacked up. We both said that at the same exact time. But either way, hopefully you enjoyed, I give it 9.5, right? Yeah, I said it. Hopefully you enjoyed our first reaction to the Flash episode. Stay tuned. We're about to start up on this spoiler-filled review. And keep it locked. This is JVS, you know what I'm saying? Merry Christmas! Well, actually it's not Christmas yet, but it's coming up.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.